The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. On a Sabbath, Jesus went to dine at the home of one of the leading Pharisees, and the people were observing him carefully. He told a parable to those who had been invited, noticing how they were choosing the places of honor at the table. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not recline at table in the place of honor. A more distinguished guest than you may have been invited by him, and the host who invited both of you may approach you and say, "Give your place to this man." And then you will proceed with embarrassment to take the lowest place. Rather, when you are invited, go and take the lowest place, so that when the host comes to you, he may say, "My friend, move up to a higher position." Then you will enjoy the esteem of your companions at the table. For everyone who exalts himself will be humble, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. Then he said to the host who invited him, "When you hold a lunch or a dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or your wealthy neighbors, in case they may invite you back and you have repayment. Rather, when you hold a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. Blessed indeed will you be because of their inability to repay you. For you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." The Gospel of the Lord. Some decades ago, there was a fundraising dinner in which the special guest was Mother Teresa. And this foundation, it was a foundation dedicated to help the poor. And during this dinner reception and fundraising, so there were, of course, a lot of speeches. The president of the foundation, different people, they have different organizations who have been helped by this foundation who have received donations. So they spoke about all the money that they have been given to different soup kitchens, to different homes and places that provide assistance to the poor. And then also they spoke about how much money they have raised that night. So, since Mother Teresa was being the honoree, so she was the last one to speak. And when she went up to the microphone to speak, some of the words that she said was, "Today we have spoken a lot about the poor. But do we speak to the poor?" We can speak a lot about the poor. But do we speak with them? Do we sit with them? In today's gospel, Jesus is invited to a dinner. And it's something that we find throughout the gospels. And during Jesus' early ministry, he ate with a lot of very different people. Today, the gospel tells us about is a very prestigious religious leader. But also he ate with very wealthy people, but also he ate with people that were very poor. He had meals with people that were outcast by society, with people that were rejected by society. That's why he was so much criticized, because with whom he was willing to meet with and to have a meal with. Eating and drinking are not only a physical necessity, but also an important element of every society. Even to these days, when we sit together with someone at table, this implies some sort of relationship. It may be a matter of friendship, a business, or simply trying to get to know each other better. In any case, sitting with another at table is both a sign and a way to create and to develop relationships. In every culture, sitting at table together, especially on days of rest and celebration, is a sign of peace and communion. That even our word companion, which comes from Latin, means common in bread. So in other words, to say he or she is my companion means someone with whom I break bread with. Jesus is the example, the role model for us of what does it mean to eat with other people. Not just to talk about other people, but to talk to them, to eat with them. And especially as we know, even just eating with the people that we live with is sometimes, unfortunately, in our society, more and more difficult because we're always in a hurry. That even meals is just in order just to, because I'm hungry, I need to eat something, and I cannot take long because I have something else that I need to do. There's something I need to do, or there's something I want to watch. And even if we're eating together at home, or even with our co-workers during lunch, many times we are on our cell phones, not so much looking at each other. Inviting others to one's table is a sign of an open heart. While accepting such an invitation to have a meal with another person, it entails to be humble, to be open to other persons, to be open to their worldview, to be open to someone else's life. This is what entails and develops a culture of an encounter. Just as Jesus did in today's gospel. Jesus did not just eat with the Pharisee and the other people. He had an encounter with them because he was genuinely present. As a good guest, he acted with respect, sincerity, avoiding merely polite formalities that preclude authentic encounter. Usually, we only share meals with people like us, family members or friends from our own circle. Jesus challenged us to invite people from outside our circle. The poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, to dine with us. Jesus is calling us to get outside our comfort zones in our effort to show the love of God to other people. I know one prominent Catholic that he decided about 2 years ago that every 2 months he will invite different people that think very different than him. As he said, it's very easy for us to demonize from a distance. It's very easy that when people write something, post something on social media, it's very easy just to go and get our cell phones and attack or disagree with that person. That is so easy just to get our cell phones and to do that. Was he said for him to write an article and to be published by a newspaper? He says, but that's not the way I feel called to by Jesus. If I wanted to be a true follower of Jesus, I needed also to eat with them, just as Jesus did. Jesus did not eat just with those people who agree with him. Now, just in today's gospel passage, throughout the Bible, we see through the 4 gospels, Jesus ate with people that have very different worldviews than him. Jesus gives voice to those who are voiceless. And to each one of us, he addresses an urgent appeal to open our hearts and to make our own the suffering and anxieties of the poor, the hungry, the marginalized, the refugee, those who are defeated by life, those who are rejected by society and by the arrogance of the strong. Why do we only invite only our friends and our relatives? In doing so, we can keep our circle close. We invite each other. When we only invite those who are always inviting us, we say, today I invite you, and then the next time you invite me. Today I paid, and the next time you will pay. We must also give to the ones from we can expect nothing. As Jesus himself said in another passage from the Bible, if you love only the ones that love you, what is your merit? Even sinners love the ones they love them. To welcome those who cannot repay you, to love those who cannot offer you anything in return. This is the heart of Jesus. This is the heart of God. Jesus, for us, in today's passage, Jesus is not asking us just to provide for the needs of the poor and disabled. He's asking us to invite them for dinner. This is a New Testament understanding of hospitality. Hospitality is translated literally and means love of a stranger. Hospitality is not just having each other over on Friday evening, but welcoming those who are in no position to host us in return. Jesus is not just asking us to provide a meal. At the same time, he's not just telling us to send in some food, not just to use Uber Eats, rather to host and to sit with our guests at table together. This is a clear sign of acceptance, of recognizing others as one equal, a commenting fellowship, a breaking bread together. In the Christian community, no one is a project. Sisters and brothers, when we sit together at the table of the Eucharist, if we just look around, where in other place you see such diversity? Who has brought us together to partake at these banquets? It's God. He is the host. We are the guests in his house. We have been invited by him. He comes, Jesus becomes our host, and we are his guests. Why we eat with others? Because that's what God has done for us. Because this is what God is doing for us at this very moment as we gather for these Eucharistic banquets. We too are the poor. We too are the blind. We too are the spiritual cripple. And yet, God has invited us to his table. Not because we're worthy, but because he is merciful. And we have responded to his invitation to be with him, to have fellowship with him. But also Jesus does not want to have fellowship with us only on Sundays. He also wants to have fellowship with us in our homes, in our apartments. Just as the Pharisee invited Jesus to his house, Jesus is open to our invitation to allow Jesus also to be our guest in our homes, to be part of our lives every day. When we show hospitality, especially to the poor, we're simply imitating God, because God himself is gracious to the poor, to the marginalized, and to the rejected. And it's only in him that we are welcome and embraced.